Before we get into this latest episode of the Empty Netters podcast, we got to hear from our presenting sponsor, Shift Hockey. You guys know the spiel here. Shift is absolutely saving every single hockey player who has ever existed because what they're doing is they're slashing stick prices in half. They have gone out and they have revolutionized the hockey stick game. They have found all of the best suppliers, manufacturers, and they're making a stick that is of the highest quality. It's right up there on the top shelf with all of the best brands that are being used in the NHL. And Shift is giving you these sticks for $150 to $170, which is literally cut in half.
Yes, that's a fact. Here's the thing. For when I was playing, I used to have the same stick. I'd have two of the same stick, two or three on the bench. Since I've been to the beer league stage of my life, I usually got one Nexus, a String King. There's like a hodgepodge of sticks I have.
Yeah.
I got the Shift stick when we started this. I got two now. I literally have two Shift sticks on the bench. That's the first time I've done that since college hockey.
It's a no-brainer. It's a sleek-looking stick. It feels amazing. It performs just as well as any stick you've ever had. I guarantee it. You can come at me if you don't think so, but you won't because you're going to love this stick. So go to www.shifthockey.com/netters, and then you're going to pump in the promo code NETTERS, NETTERS, at checkout, and you're going to save another 10%. Guys, truly, this is an obvious situation. If you are a high school hockey player, if you're a junior hockey player, if you're in college, if you are playing beer league, if you are a parent with kids who need top-of-the-line sticks and you don't want to spend $350 every time you get one, buy a Shift hockey stick, use our promo code, save yourself some money, and still be using one of the best sticks on the market. It is a no-brainer. All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Empty Netters podcast. We've got a ton to get into. We're going to talk about some hot ice. We are going to talk about the playoff preview because the playoffs are about to be set, which is unbelievably exciting. But before we get into that, we got a big announcement.
Thank you.
Wow.
Tell everyone what it is, Dan.
Big news, folks. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are here, which means the Empty Netters podcast is going to 2 eps a week.
2 times. Twice.
We are going to be recording every Monday night, so we will have the Monday night games going on and the West Coast games playing while we're recording. We're going to release those episodes every Tuesday, and then we'll be recording every Thursday night during the East Coast games. So you're going to get in live reactions of us watching the games, and we're getting these 2 episodes a week out because we need you guys to stay on top of everything going on. The playoffs are every single day. It's nonstop electric factory hockey. We can't have you guys missing any action. We can't have you guys getting all of this information a week late. So we're coming at you twice a week. So strap in. The playoffs are
We're breaking down every series, every game. The NHL playoffs are the most fun thing in sports, so come on this ride with us. Going to be a fucking crazy 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. Cannot wait. Let's get right into hockey talk, starting with the Frozen Four.
Dude, we were there.
Huge shout out to Hat Tricks Tavern.
Massive shout out to Hat Tricks Tavern. Cannot wait to go back. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave, the owner and GM. Hat Tricks Tavern in Tampa, Florida. Honest to God, might be the best hockey bar I've ever been to in my life. No joke.
Can't think of a better place to watch a game.
I think Jay Serge in Montreal is a great option. That's a phenomenal Habs bar. Hurricane O'Reilly's in Boston for the Bruins is amazing as well. We'll be there soon. But Hat-Tricks does it big, and it is such a cool staff, such an amazing bar, great environment, walkable to the rink. They hosted us. We had a blast meeting fans, shooting some videos. Just unreal times all around.
The atmosphere was electric. The college fans show out. We knew that, but man, they are packed. And it's a really cool thing. The basketball does this too, but having both those games, the semis, you get tickets and you can go to both. You know, so it's like there's the fans of all 4 schools are there. The barn is packed. People in the second game are cheering for who they want to play in the first game. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone's got a rooting interest. The bands, dude, God, we made a joke earlier that we were like, the Coyotes should get a band because they're playing.
They should, yeah. That was
the bands is such a sick
It's
thing.
so sick.
Like, they score a goal and they're just going insane. The fucking tubas over their heads are going nuts. That was unbelievable.
Chris, bands during games might be a top 3 cool thing about college sports.
Oh man,
it's
awesome.
So money. And Michigan, you have humiliated me for the last time. Yep. The fact that and listen, they lost to QU, who went on to win.
Yeah,
and you know you lost to the champion, sure. Michigan, you guys are such choke artists. It's unbelievable in across sports these days too.
Yep.
And I said it on our Instagram story, and I'll say it right here on the airwaves. Luke Hughes, dude, you fucking choked in that game.
He was sloppy. He was really
insane.
sloppy.
It was just trying to do too much, being too cute, turnovers everywhere. He had one electric assist.
Being too cute.
Yeah.
He was being way too cute. And it was just turnovers everywhere. He had one incredible assist.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was blown away with how lazy he looked. And I think his mind was in New Jersey already. He was like, the second we win or lose, I'm going straight to Jersey. I'm getting into the playoffs with my brother. And that's sick. He played last night. They won a big game. But I was not pleased. As a Michigan fan, I was not pleased.
I'm not putting the jersey on him, but I am putting maybe he got ahead of himself, felt like I had to do everything, which is insane when you play on a team with Adam Fantilli.
I agree.
I agree. He was all over the place, and not in a good way.
Not in a good way at all. But huge props to QU. Unbelievable first national championship in school history.
Fantastic.
And those guys just played phenomenally. And to come out in the final against a wagon of a team in Minnesota, go into overtime, and then score on the overtime puck drop. Literally clean draw back, breakout pass into the zone, pass across the slot, nice little deke past the goalie, tuck, shoot the glove, Selly.
Oh,
it was it was 10 seconds of perfection.
dude,
Could not believe
everyone
it.
was saying, like, what a set play. And I'm not saying that was completely ad-lib. Like, maybe that is a thing they worked on, but I'd be shocked if in the locker room they were like, okay, coming out for overtime, let's run that set play to start if we win the draw. Like, I really think that was just, I'm sure maybe they've talked about that off a face-off once in their or a few times in their lives, but that really just felt like it was just the game happening. It was like, bang, oh, he's open, goal.
Yeah.
And I was
Clean,
like, Jesus Christ.
Crisp breakout. It also felt a little bit like, I wonder if they, huddle up before the overtime puck drop, if they were like, dude, catch them sleeping. Like, it's the very beginning of this overtime period. Go out firing. And they did, and they won.
Dude, shout out real quick to our dad, who has coached a lot of hockey, played a lot of hockey, coached a lot of hockey in his life, coached us when we were younger. And
Shout out Big Jim.
how often did he say, anytime we were in a huge game that went to overtime, this game is going to be over in 2 fucking minutes?
Yes. Yep. That's true.
what happens, dude. It either goes 2 minutes or 40. You know, like everyone's nervous. No one's quite ready, locked in. If you are die out to start overtimes, those games can end immediately.
Red line, the second overtime starts.
Yep.
And you will win 9 times out of 10. I genuinely believe that.
So that was I've never heard Dad speaking in my head harder than when they won they game won in 10 seconds. I was like, wow, Dad somewhere is smiling.
Yeah.
He's alive, by
No
the
doubt.
way, but he's smiling in Maine.
He's in Maine, smiling. It's what's up, Dad? But again, massive love to Tampa, to Hat Tricks Tavern. Massive love to the NCAA and the Frozen Four. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a hockey fan, and if you're not watching the Frozen Four every year, get on board. It's so much fun. These teams are so good. These players are so good. So absolutely loved it. Had a blast. Let's kick it into NHL because shit is hot in the streets, starting right off the bat with the Boston Bruins. They did it.
They did it, Dan. I was on record.
They did it and then some. They keep breaking records.
I was on record saying I wish I didn't even want it because you say they're not phased. I was kind of like I would be phased. I didn't want it. Now that I think Burke had a quote that he was like once they were at 61 or something, he was like, now that we're so close, I want it. Let's just do it. Yeah. So I support that. Our buddy Dylan told us that he was pumped that they did it they got to 63 in 80 games with the Habs that set the record at 62 did it in 80. So he loved there was no asterisk there. Like we got to 63 and 80. Obviously the overtime wins. Obviously that wasn't
Canadians
a thing.
Fans, obviously.
Chill out.
Obviously.
But it was pretty cool. It got to 63, 64 now by the time we're recording.
Yep.
If Ullmark is hurt, it doesn't look like he is, but if Ullmark is
fine.
hurt trying to get that win, that was psychopath. But really cool thing.
It's really cool, and they just keep doing more stuff, right? It's in the 63 win game, Pasta had a hat trick for his, I think, 14th career hat trick, got his 60th goal on the hat trick. So there's more milestones happening. With the 64th win, they got to 133 points, which is the most points in NHL history. They got to 34 home wins, which is most in Boston Bruins history. There's just, this team, man, is just... Yeah. They have been making history all season long, and they keep doing it. And I will say I am very glad they got to 64.
How come?
I think it's cool that, to me, it shows that they got to 62. They then broke it. And it's not like they were like, oh, my God, that was such a stressful thing. We finally got there, and then you kind of just, not peter out, but lose a couple games. They've been playing the same hockey
Yeah.
since opening night.
Bell to bell.
You know, and it's like they got the 63rd win, they got the 64th win. I won't be surprised if they get 65. You know,
Yeah.
it's like they just keep winning, and it's really impressive.
They've been a very impressive team with seemingly no flaws from start to finish. Are you personally worried about Pasta's scoring percentage based on the rest of the team?
You brought this up to me personally recently, and if you're a Bruins fan, I think you look at Pasta, and he's having a historic year, not for the Bruins, not for David Pastrnak, for NHL players.
Yep.
He is one of a very small sample size of people who have scored 60 goals in an NHL season. I think it's
Second Bruin, right?
Yes.
I think.
I think it's insane that, or actually look that up. It might be him, Esposito, and one other person, but I think it is just him and Esposito. What's wild about it is usually the Bruins are so strong and famous for having like 6 25 goal scorers. And this year, Pasta has 60. And then I think the next most on the team is DeBrusk with like 27, 26 maybe.
I don't think it's Jake. We keep going unless you want to know exactly, but I have something to say about all this. And to answer your question, Dan, it's in Bruins history, it's Espo, Pasta at 60, which is the next most. So
Espo and Pasta. There you go.
Nearly 55.
Is it not Jake? I think Marshy has 24 goals. I think Jake has 26 or 27. I think Berg has 20 something.
I think Marshy and Berg have more than Jake. He missed a lot of time.
I don't think so. That's the crazy thing. I think Marshy just scored last night for the first time in a long time for him, for I believe his 24th. And I think Jake has 26 or 27.
Jake does have 26. Berg has 27.
Berg has 27.
Marshy has
So it goes it goes Pasta 60, Berg 27, Jake 26.
So this is what I wanted to say to you. We just talked about the other week that the Oilers having 4 30-goal scorers this year.
Yes.
And that's great depth, right?
It's amazing.
You know, we're top heavy, but I'm like, they have 4 guys that pop.
They're top
30.
6, but
And if you extend it to 20-goal scorer, the Bruins have 5. Pasta, Brad, Berg, Zaka, Jake. If Hall hadn't been hurt, maybe they would have had 6. Krejci has 16. Freddie has 16. So my point is,
Coyle has 15.
my point is, if you want to take it down a little bit, another rung, you were like, yeah, the Bruins have balanced scoring. There's plenty of depth there. But you look at that 30-goal mark, and it's like, it really is literally Pasta. And it's one of those things, as a fan, I get scared that there's line matchups. They take the line matchups way more serious in the playoffs.
Definitely.
You play that home team, they got a Hedman, they got, whoever, Dougie, whoever you like on D. These guys that can lock someone down. If Pasta, even if he just goes cold.
Yeah.
Like, if Pasta goes cold, I'm like, where are the goals coming from?
Which, man, was something I was going to say. I think if you are a Bruins fan, there is a reasonable take that in the past few years, when you get to the playoffs, David Pastrnak, who is your best goal scorer, has been quiet in the past. This is clearly a different year. He's scored 60. It's clearly a different year. He just signed his monster extension. He is locked in with this Boston Bruins organization. I think he's going to have a monster playoffs. I'm not worried, but it's reasonable to say, fuck, man, I hope he doesn't go cold. I hope he doesn't get isolated by a game plan. I do think, and this is not me coming from a Bruins fan perspective, if you look at this Bruins team, yes, Pasta is scoring a lot, but we talked about it the other day. You look at their goal diff, and it is 127.
Yeah.
The next highest in the league, I believe,
I think it's the Oilers.
is
Like 61.
the Devils at 64. Dallas is 63, and the Oilers are 62. So the Bruins are plus 127. So, yes, Pasta's scoring a lot, but the Bruins are also winning by a lot. Mm-hmm. They're having huge margins of victory in these games. And I think if a team goes, we're going to isolate Pasta, we're going to have someone borderline shadowing him, you then look to guys like Brad Marchand. You look to guys like Patrice Bergeron. You look to guys like Jake DeBrusk. You look to guys like Taylor Hall, Tyler Bertuzzi, Charlie Coyle, David Krejci. It's like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And, yep, scoring, second line, third line scoring has been the Bruins' bugaboo over the past several years. you would hope that the scoring that you've seen from this group is going to be okay.
And we can get off because I agree. I think you're right, but it's a concern, but I agree. And I know I'm such a Krejci stan, and I have no data on how many times how many goals he assisted on pastas or whatever. But it fires me up so much that they bring back Krejci, and they're like, go play. Krejci was always his bitch constantly was like, you don't put anyone to play with me. Like you let the perfection line play up there, and I play with idiots. And then they're like, okay, fine, come back and play with Pasta. And Pasta's like, I have 60 goals.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that was fucking obvious.
You know what's been interesting over the last few games, or I would say several games? Pasta's been playing with Bert and Zaka.
I know.
And all three of them are on like 5-game point streaks.
Bert, I mean, a new guy, obviously, but like his best run by far.
It's just, it's pretty shocking to see.
Okay.
But stick taps to the Bees, made NHL
Hey, congrats,
history.
dude. Sick.
And you got to be real, man. You look at a record like this, and we talked about is it 18-19 Lightning that got 62?
Yeah. It was very recently.
That was a season of all time. And here, this Bruin team's just beat it by 2 games. This is a record that could stand for decades. So
yeah. And, man, that start was just so
insane.
Obviously, they've been hot all year. You got to be to lose 12 fucking games, but they've just been like it was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Okay, monster point year for Pasta. Speaking of monster point years, Dan, Jack Hughes, start of the year. A lot of us were calling 100-point season for Jack upcoming. Dial it up. I don't think you had him that high. If memory serves, I think you were kind of like, I don't know if Jack's gonna get there. But he delivered, and he actually got really hot late too. He's been on an absolute heater. 97 points, broke the Devils franchise record, the Patrick Elias 2000-2001 record for most points in a single season with 96. He's got 1 game left against the Caps. Hundreds on the table. We'll see.
Absolutely it is, yeah. And the swag, listen, 100%. I did question Jack.
Yeah.
I didn't say a single bad thing about Jack. I love Jack. But I was like, prove it, dude. You know, you were pretty good last year, but do you have what it takes? Is this your jump year? And absolutely it is. He looked at doubters like me and was like, yeah, fucking damn right it is. And I love that about Jack. And I'll say the swagger that he's been playing with all season, and also he's got that little bump of Luke being on the team now. You know, he scored in his first game with Luke. He scored the last goal of the game, I believe.
To break the record.
Absolutely, I could see that swagger bleeding over and him having a 3-point night in their last game. Because I know he wants it. You know, he said in an interview post-game when he got the tying point, they were like, how does it feel to be tied Devils all time? He goes like, I want to break that bad boy.
Yeah,
and
that was awesome.
So I'm like, I could also see him now. I mean, like, people know it. It's one of my favorite things. Hockey guys are so humble, and it's one of the many, many great things about this sport. But they're aware of everything. Mm-hmm. And I think what's really funny is you see it, especially, I feel like it's been happening a ton recently. We got Giroux's 1,000th point. We got Pavelski's 1,000th point. We got Pasta's 60th goal. We got Moose's 50th goal. There's so many milestones. Every single clip that you see, someone on the team straight to the net to grab the puck.
Yeah.
Everyone's aware. Like, you're going into games and guys are like, dude, you're 1 point from 100.
Yeah.
Or you're 1 point from this. You're 1 goal from this. So obviously Jack is going into this game going, it'd be sick if I had a 3-point night.
Yep.
So I could see it.
I always get so devastated when I'm looking up like most points ever in a season, and no one's ever been over 100. No one has ever been over 200 except Waino 4 times, and Lemieux once had 199, and I'm like, dog,
Get one.
you could like.
more.
I hope he went into the last game at 193 and had a 6-pointer and just couldn't quite get
he's
there.
like,
But I'm
"Fuck."
like, come
Yeah,
on, dude.
agree.
So anyway, my biggest shock when I saw this Jack stat was the Devils haven't had a 100-point guy in the entire franchise history. Crazy, right?
That is crazy. They've been around for a long time. I mean, 100 points is it's so funny to look at. We've got to do some research when the final game of the season ends to see what else shakes out, because there's some guys who are on the bubble right now.
Yep.
I think Marner's 1 point away.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
I think we might be staring down the barrel of most 100-point seasons in NHL history right now. We might be.
Yeah,
And
certainly in recent memory, but I'd be shocked.
And if
you go
not,
back.
we've got to be in top 5, because it is preposterous how many 100-point guys are in the league right now.
I'd like to look that up.
You know, it's like guys who are elite, but you're like, whoa, like Braden Point he's either at 100 or he's about to get it. Jason Robertson hit 100 and fucking sprinted right past it. And
Yep.
it's like Pasta's at 100 for the first time.
McKinnon's at 100 for the first
McKinnon's
time.
at 100 for the first time.
Crazy.
Rantanen's at 100 for the first time. He's at 100, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And Karlsson, 100 points.
Sick.
It's like, fucking Christ, we got to talk about that too.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, so many guys have 100 points, and it's just amazing.
Well, I had a similar thought process as you, and when I saw the stat, my mind went like this. The Devils haven't had a 100-point guy? And then I was like, actually, 100 points is pretty hard. There's probably a ton of teams that don't have 100-point guys. So then I looked it up, and you would
course you
be
did.
shocked how many you're like, oh yeah, that guy had 100 points. Oh yeah, that guy had 100 points. Oh, yeah. Like there were teams that I was like, no chance, and then they got this guy, and then they got that guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Coming into this season, to start this hot NHL season, only 6 teams didn't have a 100-point guy in franchise history.
Okay, let me try to guess them.
Okay.
Devils were one.
Devils were one, and it might be gone.
Yeah.
And there's another one that is,
Vegas and Seattle are one.
oh, yes, but no, there's another one that is now gone because you just said it.
Sharks.
No.
Oh yeah, obviously Joe and Marlowe probably
Yeah.
did it too.
He got
Dallas.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Dallas was one. Robo just became
But
first.
that's surprising. It's surprising Madonna
Shocking,
never hit
dude.
it. Yeah.
Devils.
Okay, so wait, Vegas and Seattle don't count in these 6?
No, they do. So,
Okay, so
Vegas
that's
and
4.
Seattle are obvious. Devils, Stars definitely gone. Devils may be gone. And then you have 2 more.
Minnesota Wild.
No. Krill.
Did he hit 100 last year?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, and I think he's about to, or he might right now. I think he's like kind of close. Sabres definitely have it.
Yep.
For
Gilney, I think. They have a couple.
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of teams
no.
have a couple. There's guys
Yeah,
you
yeah,
forget.
yeah,
You're like,
for
holy
sure.
shit.
Carolina.
No, Stahl.
Get out of town. That's a funny,
I don't
that's-
have it listed for everyone. Like, I don't remember who did it, but I just
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
it was
that's
Stahl.
a funny one. Okay.
It's not. You won't be shocked. Like when you get them, you'll be like, okay.
Oh, Nashville.
Oh, sorry. You're missing 3, and yes, Nashville.
I'm missing 3.
Yeah,
Well,
there were 7.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nashville is 1.
I wasn't counting Dallas because they weren't on the list anymore because they
Got
Robo
it,
had hit
got
So
it,
yeah,
got
that's
it, got it.
6. You've got Devils, Vegas, Seattle, and Nashville. And you're missing 2 more.
Dude, I'm gonna guess this one because in my opinion, the best player in franchise history is my boy, and he never hit 100. Is Calgary one?
They are not, and I was positive Calgary's gonna be on there, but they've got some because I don't actually. Icky might have done it.
I don't think he did. I think
No, I think he's 96 or something.
yeah,
That
I
was
think
like the most he got.
he was mid 90s, but he didn't hit 100.
But they've got
okay.
some, a few even. I think.
Okay,
I can't
cool.
remember who.
I wonder if Fleury ever hit.
That's
for
what I was
them.
just wondering. Yeah.
Okay. Krill's the only one with the Wild.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
funny. Fuck. Okay, sorry. This is dead air.
No, but it's good.
Um,
They neither are in the playoffs this year. I would say pretty historically bad.
neither the 2 I need, or I need 3 still.
No, you need 2 more, and neither in the playoffs.
Neither are in the playoffs. Okay. Oh, Columbus.
Columbus.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Ducks certainly have one.
You know what, man? They do, and it's Timu a handful of
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
a few times. But Korea did it too. I forgot. I didn't realize
Yeah.
Korea went. He
Did
went-
Getz never hit it?
Oh yeah, I bet he did too. I was scrolling way back. You know, I'm sure he hit it more recently. I'm not sure, but I'd be willing to bet he hit it more recently.
And then the Yotes.
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
the Yotes. Which I was kind of shocked. Like, not that Donor was the most high-flying scorer ever, but he was just such a star that I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I would have guessed them if you'd been like, who doesn't have it? They would have been on my list.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, wow, he never
Yeah.
got there.
Before we move on from this, just this year, guys with 100 points: McDavid, Draisaitl, Kucherov, Pasta, Matty Tkachuk, Nate Dugg, Jason Robinson, RNH, Mikko Rantanen, Elias Pettersson. That was another first timer,
yeah.
unbelievable. Erik Karlsson, and then here's my thing: with 2 games left to play, Mitch Marner's at 99. Or maybe not 2 games.
One game.
One game left to play. With 1 game left to play, Jack Hughes is at 97. Tage Thompson's at 93, won't get it. Pointer's at 92. Panarin's at 91. Crosby is at 91, dude.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby has 91 fucking points. Mika is at 90. Stutzel's at 88. Like, these guys aren't going to hit it, but there's a very real chance that Hughes and Marner hit it, and that will be a lot of 100-point guys in one season.
Yep.
Crazy.
So yeah, pretty crazy. And I'm those franchises. The interesting thing I thought, Dan, was if Jack doesn't do it this year, that he'll do it. That's gone.
Yeah. Jack Hughes is a certified stallion.
Vegas and Seattle, I'll kind of give a pass to, even though like you're here, you should just get a good player. Like I'll kind of give a pass to, but Columbus, Arizona, and Nashville.
Columbus,
I'm
Arizona,
like,
and Nashville.
Do you have a 100-point guy coming?
Well, I mean, Yost got 96 or something last year.
Yeah, that feels not repeatable though.
Yeah. Evangelista in Nashville, dude.
Yeah.
That kid lit up London, and then he showed up, and he's almost at a point per game in his 10-game sample or something like that. I would keep eyes on him.
Keller could go 100.
I think Keller could easily go 100.
And Johnny obviously can.
Yep.
He did it already.
I think Schmaltzy is a good little player.
Oh, that's the Flames, eh?
What?
I said Matty Tkachuk did it on the Flames.
Did Matt hit 100 last year?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he might have. But yeah, like Johnny Hockey and Line could just have a year.
Yep.
It's
Or Bedard.
or Connor Bedard at any of these
As a
teams.
rookie.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that was interesting. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I thought there would
Crazy
be
stuff.
more teams. As you just said, let's just give a quick stick taps to Erik Karlsson. We talked about him enough last week, but fucking sick. I knew he would do it.
It's
Just
so awesome, and I love that he did it in a 6-2 loss where he had both goals.
Yes.
Like he was like, I'm playing. No games went into the last game of the season. Potts 2 gets 100. Really cool post from his wife. His daughter had a cool sign that was like, "You did it, Dad," or something like
epic.
that.
I didn't even
Because
see that.
it's, I think it's really cool that he goes home and he's talking to his family and he's like, "Fuck, I'd love to get it."
Yeah.
And everyone thinks about this.
the
stuff.
whole team, dude. And it was sick he did it on goals.
I agree.
Just
So
burying
swaggy.
Goals.
Yeah.
And then you also just said this, but I just had to say, because I had to. On Saturday, Sid had 2 tucks and an apple against Detroit. One of those goals was another disgusting backhander.
He's got the best
buzzer beater.
backhander in NHL history. It is undisputed. It's fucking ridiculous.
It made him the 15th player ever to reach 1,500 points, and he's 15th all time. Ovi has 1,484 for reference. They've always been so close, their whole careers. Sid, as you said, Sid has 91 points in his age 35 season. Yep. He's a fucking legend.
He's a legend.
Love you, Sid. But
Absolute
wow,
legend.
Congrats.
It's crazy. I also want to just give a quick stick taps. We've talked so much shit about the Vancouver Canucks this season in jest. But man, Elias Pettersson has been, just because the team is so bad or so lackluster, they picked it up a little bit since the beginning of the season. What an undercover stud. He was an
year 3, right?
I think so. He is an all-star this year. He has just been playing puck drop to puck drop, incredible hockey. He has over 100 points. He is so young, and he is so good. So if you're not paying attention to Petey yet, do it, because he is a generational talent.
I feel like, did he win Rookie of the Year, or was he second?
I don't know.
He was like, he either won it or was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he had a tiny dip year 2. And I was like, oh yeah, he's not quite. I thought he was like the next great star.
Remember he had that interview where people were like, do you feel like you're struggling? And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And then he's like, oh, dude, I am filth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, dude. So good for him. I'm really happy about that. Okay, last piece of hot ice I want to talk to you about. So as you guys all saw in the story and everything, and we were talking about earlier, we went to Tampa for the Frozen Four. It was awesome, and we had a really particularly good time with the Chicklets boys and the Game Notes boys who were there tearing it up. And the big news that I wanted to discuss with you is, while we were in the box watching the game, Merles was like, I don't think Bedard's going to be that good. And I was like, excuse me, sir. But he's a Fantilli guy, dude. He was
shout out Merles. That was a fire take. And I like it. I like the take.
Me too. So he's like, look, I watched Fantilli out here. And by the way, right as Merles finished this, I was about to say rant. It wasn't a rant. As this impassioned speech, Fantilli goes bar down on a fucking clapper to tie the game. And I was like, chef's kiss. Perfect timing by everybody here, everybody involved. But he was like, his point was, he was like, Fantilli's playing this 200-foot game. He's making checks in the D zone. He's scoring goals out here. And Bedard is this tiny little flashy forward. And, you and I were like, well, it's the league's different. Small guys are existing all over the place now. And he goes, yeah, but not righties. And I was like, what? And he's like, name me one good small right shot in the NHL. And I was like, oh, dude, you're an idiot.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. That's maybe the most fascinating thing I've ever heard.
It was crazy, man.
Can you even do it now?
It was absolutely crazy.
Like he goes, he did admit, he was like, Bedard's good. His ceiling is pasta. And I think anyone would take that. If I promised you're taking Bedard and he's going to be a 60 goal scorer, you're like, okay, that was a worthy first pick. But he's not sold on the generational talent because of that take. And dude, like I did a little research.
I got it right here. Here are right-handed shots in the NHL of those top point guys.
Yeah.
David Pastrnak.
And I kind of looked these up. 6 feet.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's gotten big, too.
Yeah.
Nate Dogg is a monster. Erik Karlsson, big.
Yeah. And even ignore D-men for this.
Yeah,
argument.
this is the first one I would consider. Mitch Marner.
Dude, I thought that too. 6'1".
Exactly.
Bigger than pasta.
He's like skinny, but like let's talk short. Tage Thompson, huge. Braden Point.
I think 5'11", so maybe. No, dude, I actually looked that up too. I'm gonna look it up again.
Willie Nylander. But my bigger point is not small.
Yeah.
Steve Stamkos, not small. Zach Hyman, not small. And then like these, everyone else is literally a lefty. Claude Giroux, Alex Tuck, not small. Joe Pavelski, not small. Ovechkin, the largest man in the world. It's these guys. Tyler Toffoli, not small.
You were listing these guys. You were like, you were Zegras and Keller. Like, and you were throwing these guys in his face, and he was like, lefty.
Merles is a genius.
Dude, there's no
there are
no good small righties in the NHL.
And what I love about that is Merles didn't do research on that. That's just something that clicked in his brain. Like, Merles was looking at the game, and he was like, "This
game notes.
He was like, "There's no good small righties." Just saying.
It was the coolest.
So Connor Bedard is coming into the league with the deck stacked against him.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Or just change a shot. He should spend all summer becoming a lefty.
What I didn't get, I borderline want to hit up Merles and see if he would answer this. Is I didn't think to ask him. All right, dude, you are the GM of the team with the first pick. Are you taking Fantilli?
And his answer, I didn't ask him, but his answer is yes.
I think he would say yes.
His answer is yes, without question.
Oh, Merles, you sicko.
Without question. Okay, that's it for Hot Ice. We got a big playoff episode coming, so let's get into it. But real quick, you want to do hottest teams of the week?
Yes, I do. I would love to.
Okay. First, and we've already got some comments because the post is up. The Oilers should be on this list because they've won 7 in a row. They're 9-0-1 in their last 10. They are scorching hot, but they won this competition last week, and it's our last one of the season, so I wanted to get some new blood in there. Sorry, Edmonton.
I'm going to go first.
Let's give them some quick quacks.
Quack, 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 quack. All right, the third hottest team of the week is the Colorado Avalanche. They had a 4-0 week. They beat the Sharks twice, the Kings, and the Ducks. Not a murderer's row of teams, but they won 6 straight. And the Avs are at the top of the Western Division. Ho-hum.
Just like we said.
We did say that, too.
Yep.
We were like, the Avs woke up probably about 20 games ago, and we were like, they're just going to come out and win the West. And here we are. Everyone was like, dude, the Avs struggling a little bit. They're the top team in the West. So,
number 2, the Florida Panthers. They beat Buffalo 2-1. Sorry, Dan. They beat Ottawa 7-2. They beat the Caps 4-2. The end of March, they got beat by Philly, which is vomit-inducing, and then they went on a 4-game skid. And since then, they went on a 6-game heater. Who did we just watch them play on Monday? At Kenward's, they lost in a shootout. They lost in overtime.
the Panthers.
Yeah.
Yes.
To the Leafs.
To the Toronto Maple
Tavares
Leafs.
scored. But they won a 6-game heater.
They lost in OT with like 10 seconds left.
Yep. They got some very fortuitous losses by the Isles and the Penguins after that, so they still hold on to the number 1 spot in the wild card.
They clinched because of someone's loss, which is like the most
hit, I think.
Thank God we clinched, but it's like we didn't do it.
So big one against the Canes because the Canes are fighting for first. The Panthers are fighting for the wild card, so let's see if they can do it. Second hottest team.
And the number 1 hottest team of the week, we've done it a bunch of times, but again, like Chris said, it's our list, and I dare anyone to disagree with us, is the Boston Bruins. They're on another 6-game win streak. This week, they beat the Blues, the Leafs, Devils, and the Flyers, and most importantly, they clocked their 63rd and 64th win.
Incredible.
They have broke the record. They're setting milestones everywhere. Bruins, statistically, are the greatest NHL regular season team of all time.
Wow.
That gets you the hottest team of the week. All right, dude, we're in it. Did you change your clothes again?
Why do you keep doing this?
Well, you're doing it too.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
We got to stop doing this. Well, maybe it's just our playoff outfits.
Playoff outfits.
We're talking about playoffs, so we got to put on our playoff suits.
Makes perfect sense.
Eastern Conference is locked. We know the matchups. We know the teams. We've got an official prediction slate to do. Are you jazzed?
Dude, I am fired up.
Yeah, I'm fucking
I always forget how
pumped.
fired up I'm gonna get, and then the playoffs arrive, and I'm just exploding at the seams.
Like the NHL's Instagram always posts like, if the playoffs started right now, and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But then when you finally see the tree, when the tree is official,
And that hatred starts bubbling,
and you're
in
like,
you
oh my
for your
god,
opponent.
and realize how much I fucking hate this guy
Yeah.
or that guy, and fan bases turn on each other, and it's just blood. You want blood, and here we are. Do you want to just dive in?
Yeah.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to go up and down? Do you want to go?
We're gonna go Atlantic, Met, up and down.
What do you even mean by that?
So we're starting in the Atlantic, going up and down.
So we'll just do Boston Panthers first.
Bruins, Panthers.
All right, guys, we're recording right now. It's Thursday night. We just watched the Panthers Hurricanes meltdown.
Insanity.
Absolutely ridiculous game, but game on the line for the Panthers to possibly jump the Islanders in the wild card spots to avoid the Boston Bruins. They couldn't handle the Hurricanes. So the first round matchup, the 1 versus the 8 seed, if you will.
Yes.
I mean, doesn't
It is.
really make sense, but like, yeah, if you will. The Boston Bruins will have home ice against the Florida Panthers. Last year's President's Trophy winner versus this year's President's Trophy
Cool.
winner.
I didn't even think about that.
People live in Massachusetts, they retire in Florida.
Wow.
Bruins is a bear, Panthers is a cat.
Four-legged thing with fur,
And
claws.
fangs and claws.
Wow, this matchup's getting more juicy by the second.
Unbelievable, dude.
They split. I'm pretty sure they split the regular season game
Yeah, that's-
4-4, or sorry, 2-2 in 4 games. Both teams won their home games.
Uh-huh.
And the last one was with, I'll get into this in a second, but it was with Alex Lyon in net.
And it's looking like Alex Lyon.
Oh, it's not looking like he
He is the goalie.
yeah.
Okay, let's dive into this matchup. Bruins, Panthers. Bruins fan.
Yep.
Bruins are the best team we've ever seen. 65 wins officially tonight,
Yep.
beating their longtime rival Montreal Canadiens. What do you have, just right off the top of your head, what do you have this series going?
Oh.
How many games?
Okay,
what are you thinking here?
I'll start. The Bruins, like you just said, have been dominant all year.
Yeah.
It means jack shit unless you win the cup.
Oh, dude, new season starts now.
Yep.
Like it is all over. Nothing that just happens matters.
It means jack shit unless you win the cup. And for them to win the cup this year, they are going to have to beat several very good hockey.
Oh my God.
Fortunately for Boston, the Panthers are not a very good hockey team.
Yep.
I think that Montour has been a beast from the blue line. Maddie posted another Hundy spot. Barkov is disgusting, like crazy disgusting. People don't even realize how disgusting he is.
Yeah. Verhaeghe's good.
Yeah.
Ekblad's good.
But they score. You know, the fifth highest scoring team in the league, I think. But they have just been fluky all year. I had them out of the playoffs early. When they were horrible early, they kind of got hot. Then I still had them written off because I was like, they have the hardest schedule. They're not going to make the playoffs. Maddie's dad's calling them soft, which they are. And it just seemed like a lot of trouble coming their way. I really respect them. They're, like I said, Lyon pretty much saved the season. Would you agree? Like, dude, because Bob...
I think definitely Lyon gets a ton of credit for being like, dude, if he didn't step in and perform the way he did, that it looked like they were out of the playoffs.
So they let me give you their goaltending, Dan. Because I talked about this in, even though it didn't fucking work, I talked about this in college hockey, where I said Michigan, I always value the teams that have a bad taste in their mouth. They want to redeem themselves. And I think certainly Florida, after winning the fucking President's Trophy last year, was like, that was not pleasant getting swept out of the playoffs by Tampa. So they're coming in with a lot of fire, but they have goaltending issues. Bob went 24-20-3. Mm-hmm. Awful. They're paying him $1 billion to be a .500 goalie. Spencer Knight went 9-8-3 and is in the assistance program. Sending good thoughts to him for real. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I hope he gets well.
Agree.
And they insert Alex Lyon. Dude, he's 30-year-old Tendy from Minnesota, played at Yale. Sick.
Smart.
Went undrafted, was originally a Flyer, and then signed a 1-year, 2-way deal with the Panthers this past July. And then he went 9-4-2 in his last 15 or whatever games. He had, I think he was like 6, until they lost today, he was like 6-0-1 down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
That has saved their season and put them in the playoffs. They're a high-scoring team, always have been, and they have maybe a reliable goalie now. But I just think all of a sudden you're playing against the Vezina winner, probably. You're playing against the only team in the league who gave up less than 200 goals on the season.
Yeah.
Only goalie in the league with the goals against under 2.
Yep.
The Bruins have been filth at home. I just feel like it's going to be 2-0 before you can blink. I wanted to take a sweep here, but honestly, I think the Panthers are good enough. They have a little bit of play of experience on that roster, and as a fan, I wouldn't actually hate the Bruins losing a game in this first round just to get, it's the playoffs, dude. It's not going to come easy. But I am going to take a gentleman's sweep, Bruins in 5.
I like that call. What I'll disagree with you on is I don't think that the Panthers have any fire. I don't think that they are carrying any piece of, oh man, last year we were the President's Trophies winner. It was so disappointing. There's no fire from that. This is a different team. They were so limp dick all year that I'm like, no, dude, you don't have. There's definitely guys in that locker room who are like, we're not letting what happened last year happen again. But it's a totally different thing. You just squeaked into the playoffs. You're not like, oh, you don't have you don't have the ground to stand on being like, yeah, we're not going to. No, dude, you need to just get into the playoffs and hope to fucking God you don't spin off the wheel here.
Yeah, you got to be a 1 seed again to have maybe have
exactly.
Fire. But would you say, though, on that topic, they did limp in, but there's a difference between maybe, being in the top of the table most of the year and kind of free falling and sneaking in and being like very out and firing to get in, which is it's closer to what I feel like it's closer to the latter, what they did.
I suppose, dude. I just don't. I think the mentality is totally different. I think the whole thing for the Panthers right now is great fight, guys. Great fight in these last 20 games. We got in the playoffs. Now let's see if we can make some noise. If you get shit pumped by the Bruins right now, no one is talking shit about Florida.
No one cares.
Everyone's being like this. Yeah, I mean, Florida lost last year in uninspiring fashion. They squeaked into the playoffs this year, and then they lost to the Titan Bruins. Like, whatever. What did anyone expect? They're not... they're not facing the music here if they lose. So I think very much they're just like, yeah, whatever, dude. See what we can do. That's that.
I hear you. I almost think the facing the music for them and Calgary, by the way, was their regular season.
Yeah,
both teams
definitely
were nasty, and then it was like, okay, you just cut the legs off of both of you, and neither of you should have made the playoffs.
Speaking of facing the music, I do want to say now officially, I have to face the music. I predicted the Flames to be better than the Panthers.
Yeah.
And it's a tough situation because
What were the points, though?
The Panthers finished the season with 92 points. The Flames finished with 93. So actually, I was right. They were the better regular season team.
Ooh, that is interesting.
But the Panthers did get into the playoffs. So,
wow, as much as I wish misery upon you all the time.
Yeah, which is I respect.
I do think, and I know that everyone goes, it's a results business. You make the playoffs. One team made the playoffs, one team didn't. But I do think whoever had the better record should win that bet. Like the
Flames had more points.
Had more points, dude.
Flames had more points. Just it is
crazy
what it is.
How close that was, though.
Yeah, wild. And dude, it was all year too. They were both just like butthole teams all year.
And man, how many? Can you look up, Brad? Could you maybe look up the standings last year? And I just want to see how many points the Flame. Leave this.
Don't
do
this. Don't do that.
Leave that video up. Do a different tab. How many points the Panthers and Flames had last year? Because in my mind,
we cannot. We're getting off hockey talk, Brian. Why was the search bar we just went to penis?
Is that what it was?
That's
Yes.
fucking incredible.
Well,
what research are you doing for Liam and Will's podcast?
Oh, that's producer Emily, so you got to ask her that question.
Emily was Googling penis while we were gone.
Literally, the last search is penis.
Yep.
So it's either Emily or someone was like fucking with us and came in here and did that.
No, it's definitely Emily. We've
Yep.
got to
This
bring
is
that up
amazing.
to Em on Monday. That's brutal.
Okay, so Panthers had 122, and then just click Western Conference right there. Flames.
Way down.
Yeah, but 111. Okay, yeah, they actually were pretty high. Because in my mind, I was like, man, they had a free fall this year, both of them. But then when you just said they both finished 93, 92, I was like, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
But they were over 110, both of them.
Yeah, no doubt.
If they had dropped 102 to 92, I'm like,
But
whatever.
it is funny when you look at the Panthers get the last wildcard spot with 92 points. Bruins 135, Toronto 111, Tampa 98, Carolina 113, New Jersey 112, New York 107. So I mean, like
Yeah.
it's not bad, but it's also like you're not
You're
even
far off.
close to
Yeah.
the best teams in the
Yep.
league. So yeah, the things I'll say about this series, the Bruins are going to win this series.
Any stumbles?
I would want a sweep just based on looking at the teams. If I'm the Bruins and if I'm their coaching staff, if I'm their management, I'm like, guys, this team doesn't deserve to carry your sperm sample. Beat the shit out of them and get out of this round. Lyon is an interesting thing for me because he has got that drunk confidence that Binnington had in 2019.
Yep.
Like, you're a guy who is almost out of the league. Now, all of a sudden, you've got your team into the playoffs in a wild card spot. All of a sudden, you could do some fucking nonsense here.
He went to Yale. He's a genius.
Wouldn't be shocked if the Bruins have a little bit of that President's Trophy record-breaking. Holy shit.
That was disgusting. Was that Nate?
No, Evan Rodriguez. He's on a tear, dude. Had a
Oh
sick
my
assist to Moose
God.
the other day. Folks, if you're listening to the podcast, we are currently watching the Colorado-Winnipeg game, which would jump Colorado.
Or
Or
Dallas. Yeah, I think they're still tied.
they are, yeah.
Dallas.
This is implications for the number 1 seed in the Central. And, yeah, Colorado would jump Dallas if they win. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bruins have a bit of President's Trophy regular season record-breaking jitters, and they drop a game or two. I could see the Bruins winning this in 5 or 6. I'd like to agree with you here and say 5. But yeah, I don't think they sweep. I think they lose a game, and I think they lose a game where they're just like, the jitters get out, and then they're like, yeah, whatever.
Even though I said it was going to be 2-0, because the Bruins home I mean, they've been filth everywhere, obviously, because they've got 1,000 points, but
Yeah.
their home record is moronic.
It's moronic.
And that's why I said it's 2-0 before you can blink. But I kind of think it's an interesting take by you, because if they lose one because of President's Trophy jitters, it almost feels like that would be early, right? Like you almost lose game 1 because you're like, oh, Christ, that was just...
Yeah, I agree.
and
Like, you
then
might
they
drop
go.
one at home, but
Yeah.
you're right. Like, them losing at home, it doesn't seem likely at all. But you never know. I mean, this is going to be a wild one. Bruins win. I'm agreeing with you. I think it's in 5. I think it's a gentleman's sweep. I hate to agree with you, but I think it would be too much of a slip for them to lose 2 to Florida.
Me too.
So I think it's got to be 5.
Bees in 5.
Bees in 5.
Next one in the Atlantic. Oh, brother. Leafs Lightning.
Wow. You want me to go first here?
Sure.
Okay. Bolts, Leafs. Toronto, home ice. Toronto significantly better in the regular season.
Yep.
Vazzy is the best playoff goaltender in the NHL right now.
Yep.
Tampa knows how to win. Toronto doesn't even know how to spell win in the playoffs. My spicy hot take that I'm not prepared to make yet, but the thought has crossed my mind, is that Toronto sweeps.
Dude.
It will not happen.
Are you sure?
Yes. I just think that I do not believe in Toronto's goaltending at all. And there's just, when you have a monkey on your back this big, when you have a King Kong sized monkey, I think I said this exact quote in our preseason stuff. But when the monkey is this big on your back, it is impossible to ignore it. I'm not saying that these guys are mentally weak. I'm not saying that they're going to let it get to them. But even if you are Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, you are definitely very aware that your team just cannot get over this hump. Because of that, you will lose games. The question is, are they prepared to go, get that out of your head, win this fucking game? Win this series, rather. I think this team is so good this year, and yet with how good Boston is and how good Carolina has been, and the surprise of New Jersey being so good, there's been something about Toronto this year that has just flown under the radar.
which suits them, right?
Suits them so
Yeah.
well to just be the second best team in the Atlantic behind the record-breaking Bruins. No one is paying attention to them. Austin Matthews has been able to just score 40 goals, have a mid-80 over point per game season yet again.
Most chill 40 Genos I've ever seen in my life.
Ever.
Dude.
And they're just, it feels like they're cool customers this year. And I hate to do it, dude. I truly hate it.
Do it.
But I'm picking Toronto in 7. I think Toronto
in 7.
I think Toronto does do it. There's no way Tampa Bay gets swept. There's no way.
I want you to take that.
Me too. I'd love to call it, and I'd love to clip it, and I'd love I would
Do
love
it.
the fans to fucking
Do it.
lampoon me. No, because Tampa is too. Tampa is old, dude. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Tampa is old. People are not aware of that. They're not too old, but they are older. They perhaps underperformed this year. And even with Vazzy and net, I just think this Toronto team is different. I think they're going to get over the hump, and I think they're going to fucking crash and burn after that.
Yeah.
But
Swept
I
by the
think
beast.
they get them in 7. And maybe I'm just saying that for Mitch. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I just want it for Mitch. But I think that they do it this year.
Okay. You just said Tampa's old, right? That's all I'm hearing. Tampa's old. Tampa's tired. And listen, they've played an entire
I said they're older. They're not too old.
Tampa's old. Tampa's tired. They've played an entire extra season.
I know,
over
it's
the last 3
insane,
years.
dude.
Literally.
insane.
Dude. Like they've played 4 seasons of
It's
hockey.
too much
in the
hockey.
last
They
3
played too
years.
much hockey.
But they've got Vasi, like you said. They got Stammer, who's, another mid-80, great season. They got Kucherov at like $1.12 again. They get John Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Like they're tested. They're battle tested. This is what I want to tell you. Oh, and by the way, they didn't.
I'm immediately regretting my pick, dude, because I do believe I do believe that these guys, these wily vets, Cooch, Stammer, and Hedman, are just sleeping giants. Because there's no why do we need to, like, they see Boston get out the gate like that and they're like, this, okay, we're not winning the Atlantic. Who gives a shit about home ice with
Right.
Toronto? They're just gonna wake up the second the puck drops. It's gonna be like that in Cinderella Man, when in the
Max
final
Baer,
round
yeah.
of the match where Max Baer comes out of his corner looking like an absolute mutant about to murder someone, and Paul Giamatti's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It honestly, there's a chance the puck drops in game 1, and Toronto's like, oh my god,
Stammer's
like
firing.
this is
home
the
onesies.
Tampa of the last 4 years, and they are going to beat the bag off of us.
And dude, here's another thing that makes you scared if you're Tampa. They didn't load up. Like, it felt like fucking everybody else in the East did. Every contender in the East did.
Yep.
B's getting guys. Rangers getting guys. Canes getting guys.
They did what they always do.
Toronto getting guys.
They went out
did
and
their
got
thing,
Jeannot.
right? If I'm Tampa, even with everything I just said, with all these guys, sleeping giants, all that shit, this is what I'm hanging my hat on, Dan. Check this out.
Talk to me.
Braden Point.
CP stats over here, dude.
CP stats a lot. Braden Point is having the best year of his fucking career. Okay? He just tucked 2 tonight to put him at his 50th and 51st. He's got 51 goals, 95 points on the season.
Yeah.
Okay? Listen to me right now, Dan. 3 years ago, in the playoffs, Braden Point, a team high 14 goals, 19 assists, 1 point behind Kucherov for most on the team. Cup. 2 years ago, Braden Point in the playoffs, a team high 14 goals, second in points to Kucherov. Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in the playoffs, Braden Point hurt. They lose in the Cup finals. If you have the guy, and Kucherov's been the leading scorer and he's the man, but if you have the guy who has been stirring the drink for you every year you've made won the Cup, and now he's having the best year of his life, I am terrified if you're playing them this year.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like Braden Point, you remember, dude, we are talking about the Bees, but the 2 years that the Bees went to the Cup, not 2019, but 2011 and 2013, David Krejci led the playoffs in scoring. And it was kind of like, man, we kind of go as Krejci's going here. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying Braden Point's the best player on the Lightning. Maybe he is this year. I mean, Kucherov's filth, but I'm not even arguing that. I'm just saying when Braden Point is going in the playoffs, they seem to hit another gear. And to enter the playoffs with Braden Point having the best career of his career is scary.
yeah, that there's no doubt about that, dude. And I mean, shit, man. Yeah, like him and Kucherov are playing so well. You do fear that, right? You're like, damn,
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about this at all.
Okay, but then the Leafs won 50 games in a season for the first time ever in their franchise history last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just did it again tonight, 50 wins. Marner, I think, did he get hung at 99?
I think Marner finished the year at 99. Yeah.
Okay, but still, monster year for Mitch, right? We just said Matthews having the quietest, dominant year ever. Nylander's got high 80s points.
Dude, that's one of the funny things about Toronto. Marner is leading the team, having a career year. Matthews, like we have said 3 times now, everyone's like, oh yeah, he's been quiet. Yeah, Marner finished with 99. He's been quiet, but he had like 84 points and 40 goals. Dude, Nylander and Tavares are both having monster years.
Sick, dude.
And they're playing, and dude, like they have other players who are playing phenomenally. So it's
and the Nylander
crazy.
one I think is super helpful because that's the one, I feel like that's always been the underperformer, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Nylander's just not doing it. And now he very much is. Okay. You went out and got Ryan O'Reilly. You got Luke Shen. You got Jake McCabe. You added all the things that we've always asked you to add.
Yep.
Right? I know the pressure is super high, and they're fueled by revenge, dude, against not only Tampa but just the world. Right? Like I feel like they just want to they want to fight back. They want to clap back one time against everybody who's always writing them off. So I think that's huge, and I really think that a guy like Ryan O'Reilly is actually super helpful in these moments. He's been there. He's won a Conn Smythe. He knows what it takes.
Yep.
If they go down early, and I'm not saying they don't have the leaders in that locker room. They do. Tavares is a leader. Matthews is a leader. But I just think it's helpful to have these seasoned vets in the locker room. So I think that's going to make a huge difference. And I felt this way last year, even though the Leafs had a better record last year than they did this year. I'm interested on your take on this.
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs had a better record last year than they did this year. But in this matchup last year compared to this year, last year, I think I thought the Leafs were better than Tampa, but maybe by like this much. And this year, I'm like, the Leafs are better than Tampa, like by more.
I agree.
I think they're significantly the better team. Okay, the best home team in the league this season was who, Dan?
Boston.
The Boston Bruins. Do you know who the second best home team in the league was?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Do you know who the third best home team in the league is?
No.
Toronto.
Wow.
So
I wouldn't have guessed that.
It's a series that could go 2-0 Toronto at home, and I don't think Tampa cares because they just hold home ice. And God forbid, Dan, if Tampa steals one in Toronto,
you bend
they're
them
like,
once.
we come home and it's 3-1. I do think
Man, that's rattling.
it's crazy, dude. I think there's going to be multiple overtimes in this series.
Oh, me too.
Multiple overtimes.
So
both
something
in game and different games.
Something I wanted to bring up to you. You look at the matchups of these teams, and the goalie matchup is not even close. It's not even worth discussing. Obviously, Tampa has the edge. We talk about these guys scoring points for this, and I always hate doing this because when you look at a team and their rosters and who has points, it is always lopsided. You're going to have your several guys with a great amount of points and blah, blah, blah. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Marner leads the team 99 points. Nylander after that with 86. Matthews after that with 85 and 73, though.
Yeah.
Tavares after that with 80. And then after those 4, who are their big 4, the next guy is Michael Bunting with 49 points. There is a 30-point drop-off after their top 4 guys. And then after that, it's 49, 41, 39, 30. It's now in the 30s or below. And I look at that and I'm like, is that cause for alarm? Is that oh shit, you guys have a top-heavy problem? But you then look at the Bruins, like we talked about.
Yeah, what I was about to ask you.
The Bees are Pasta with 111, then Marchand with 66.
Yeah, it's a fucking 50-point drop.
Berg with 58, Zaka with 57, Krejci with 56. But the difference is they have 7 guys with 50 or more and 9 guys with 40 or more. And that is not the case with Toronto. It's not that different. But I look at a guy like Bunting after your top 4, and I'm like, is Bunting gonna give you that oomph in the playoffs? I don't know. So Yeah, man, I'm not sure.
I genuinely think this, and I swear to God, I wrote this before we even spoke. I think this series is going to come down to fucking bounces. The double OT hit someone's shin and fell in, tap in for somebody. There's going to be a couple games that teams look back on during this series that goes, we could have had that one easily.
Yeah.
And I think it's going 7. And again, I swear I wrote this before. I'm going Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Just because they're just better, and
they're better,
too
dude.
Much, dude. Like,
wow,
you can't lose this
I'm really relieved. I thought you were gonna be like, it's Tampa in fucking 6, dude.
No.
I'm really relieved you said that, dude. That is it for me. Toronto is better.
Yeah.
They're a better team. Goaltending is going to be monumental. If Toronto comes out and their goaltending fucking leaks, you're dead, dude. You are so dead so fast. So I don't mean to cut you off. But I think what I really love that bounce call. Where the other thing that I think is going to be so crucial with this, dude, Tampa can beat you so many ways.
Yeah.
They can beat you with literally any of their 4 forward lines. If Toronto wins this series, those big 4 need to perform. Your bottom 6 ain't winning you this series, dude.
Correct.
So if those guys don't come out and drop their fucking nuts on the table, they are losing.
And
if one of them goes cold, too cold, I mean, there's a world maybe where Matthews goes nuclear and drags them through. But if one of them goes real cold, if Nylander disappears, you have lost.
Dude,
so those guys
right.
need to fucking play.
And what will be fascinating, we're way getting ahead of ourselves, but what will be fascinating is if this does happen and they get out, let's call it 7, it's either one of those, now we're winning the cup because all we needed was to just get over the hump, or they go, I am exhausted.
I think it's that.
That was the Super Bowl, and they get swept by the Beast.
I think it's that. I think they go like this, we fucking did it.
Yeah.
And then they get steamrolled. And I'm like, good, dude. Good for you. Unbelievable.
Okay, wow. So we're aligned so far. Let's move to the Met, and we're going by the skin of their teeth division winners, the Carolina Hurricanes, against the New York Islanders. And I feel bad for the Canes because coming into this season, I think we put on the tiers that it was this could have been the year. It felt like cup or bust for them. And they were the 1 seed, right? Like one of the 1 seeds. I still feel like it is. But they were just getting better. Penalty shot.
Lars
he's
Eller.
got it. All right, we're going to watch this, but I'm going to keep talking in the meantime. They, after that Eastern Conference Finals loss to the Bruins in 2019, which felt fluky for both teams, right? Like neither of us should have been there. They went first round loss to Boston, second round loss to Tampa, second round loss to the Rangers last year. And it just kind of felt like, okay, like the Canes are the team. They were all the preseason picks.
I'm going to cut you off if you're going to take... No, you can keep going. I didn't want you to... Because I have something to say about this. I said to you the other day.
I can't remember. You say it again.
I'm going to wait until we get into this.
Okay. So they looked like the team. Then they lost Pacioretty to start the season. Fucking nightmare. And then they had the big name go on long-term IR.
They lost Patches, then Patches came back and then got hurt again.
Oh, that's right. It was like his first game.
It was the most whiplash ever.
Yeah.
And then,
the big name go on IR.
Svechnikov
Andre
is
Kasha.
gone. Dude, you know what's a huge miss by you is you could have said Andre.
Yeah.
You could have been like, they lost Andre, and I'd have been like, I know, Svech, and you're like, no.
Dude, I'm kidding, because it actually is sad.
Hold on. Lars Eller penalty shot here.
Going wide.
And
wide. Speed.
Oh.
I'm on Hellebuck's watch.
I don't think that's Connor.
Oh, who's in?
I don't know.
It should be.
Nah, it shouldn't. They're locked in.
I don't mean to drag Kasha. He's probably played his last game in the NHL ever, and that is sad. But he is also on long-term IR. But yes, Dan,
poor guy.
Svechnikov, the speed demon himself, that one hurt real bad. The Islanders were such an interesting club. I felt like when they traded for Horvat, we all made jokes like, I was like, aren't you sellers? What is going on here? You making a push? Then they got in. Credit to them.
Thank God they got in after that Horvat comment.
After that Horvat trade and then that Horvat comment.
Yeah. Well, the trade, after they extended him, I was kind of like, doesn't matter if you don't get in. Like
Fair.
you made a great trade for a big player and he's locked up. But after his comment about Vancouver, if they had missed playoffs too, that would have been tough.
Brutal.
So
the Islanders they scored the 23rd most goals in the league, which is brutal. The Canes let up the second least amount of goals in the league.
Yep.
However, the Canes were 17th in the league in goals for. The Islanders 10th in the league in goals against. They're both strong at home. Carolina's really strong on the road. Islanders horrible on the road. But, dude, you know where I was going. They have one X factor. Sorokin.
He is
Third best save percentage in the league.
Yep.
Behind Ullmark and Gustafsson, I think. He is one of the few guys. We talked about pedigree last week, right? He's one of the few guys. What year is he in the league? Like, was he on these Eastern Conference Finals teams?
I don't. Fuck, that's embarrassing. I should know that. Let me look that up.
So yeah, if he check that out, Bri. Just click on his. Go down the hockey reference stats. Keep going. One more. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, this
So
is
three-
this
so-
is his third year. I
So
was like,
one of those last year. Did they go to the Eastern Conference Finals that year?
in
Or no, that was
20
the COVID year, right? So no.
No, yeah, no.
Yeah, so I guess he wasn't, but he's one of those guys with or without playoff experience that can steal you a series if he gets it in his bag.
Yeah, no doubt. And then this is really his first big test. I mean, this is his playoff hockey. And you know, he has 7 games, 4 wins, 1 loss. 5 started, 4 wins, 1 loss. And that was the 2021 season. But you know, like, you're a wild card team.
Yeah.
You're playing an incredibly good team, but like, you are a guy now. You are a top 5 goalie in the league, top 3 probably. I think there's a lot of people who would say you are the best goalie in the league. So Sorokin is the best goalie in New York. Sorry, Rangers
Wow.
fans. I don't even think it's debatable.
Me neither.
Look at the fucking numbers. Sorokin is better than Shesterkin.
Yep.
But this will be a big test for him. There's a big, you know, put your money where your mouth is. It's a brutal matchup for you. You
Yeah.
don't have the team that you don't even have close to the team that Shesterkin has in front of him, and you're still doing what you're doing. Like, this guy's a weapon.
So as good as Aho is, as good as Burns has been, we heard today that Hurricanes most goals by any team in the league by defensemen. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
As good as Natchez is, he's having a
Hold
crazy
on,
year.
clarify that again. The Carolina Hurricanes have the most goals by defensemen this season than ever before in the NHL.
In the league this year. I don't know
in
if
the
it's ever
league?
before.
Okay,
They just
all
have
right.
the most
Yeah.
goals by defensemen
Yeah.
this year. So, you know, as good as Natchez is, Svechnikov, maybe Aho, but Svechnikov was on pace to be their leading scorer.
100%.
Like, that was a
he
massive,
was their all-star.
massive loss.
Best goal scorer, and it's not close.
So he's out, right?
Yep.
And of all the playoff teams, Carolina has the third least amount of goals for. If Sorokin gets hot, I think the Islanders can score just enough to do it. Give me the massive upset in the first round, Islanders in 6.
in 6.
Because they're going to do it at home.
Wow, love it. Okay. I think the Carolina Hurricanes might be Fugazi.
Oh, shit.
I think the permanent loss of Patches was brutal. I think the loss of Svechnikov is devastating. And I think that they had a nice little cushion atop the net that almost got chipped away here.
Yeah.
And they have been struggling. They got a good little win there against the Panthers to lock it up when it mattered. But I think that they are weaker right now and have been in the last 20 or so games than people are genuinely aware of. And I think when Svechnikov went down, we posted something on the Instagram, and a lot of Hurricanes fans were like, we're fucked, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you don't realize how important he is for our offense. We are fucked. And I think that there's a very serious reality that they are.
And they were stumbling hard down the stretch.
Yes, they sure were.
1-3 in their last 4 before the win tonight in a clown show game.
Yeah, they sure are. So I love that pick by you. I think that the Hurricanes are in a tough way. I said it either earlier this episode or last episode. Your goalie's Frederick Anderson. Like, I don't really know what the fuck is going on there. He is way better in Carolina than he was in Toronto. But, you know, last year against, in my opinion, a very soft penis Boston Bruins team.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
You
dude.
won. Do you like that, Brian?
It's quite the analogy.
I'm telling you. They lost in 7 to that Boston team.
They won.
Sorry,
Yeah.
they won in 7 to that Boston team. Then they lost in 7 to New York.
And they were doing that home bullshit, remember?
Yes,
like they
just
could
winning
only
at
win
home, and
games.
that's
Yeah.
it. This is what the take that I was going to say, and this is, Brian, get ready to clip this. I think we will find out that, and injuries aside, I think we will find out this year if the Carolina Hurricanes are the Colorado Avalanche of last year, and I'm not saying they need to win the cup.
Yep.
They need to at least go to the Eastern Conference Finals. We will see if they are that team that's like, we are getting better. We're getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they are the San Jose Sharks of the last 10 years. And I worry that it's the latter. I think that this Hurricanes team might just be a classic, dude, we're sick every year in the regular season, but then we don't have the nails to get through to the final.
I love the comparison.
And here's
I
the
love
thing.
it.
They are one of the two, dude.
Yep.
They like if you don't make how good the East is so tough, but dude, teams are always going to be good.
Yep.
And if they don't make a legit run here, you never will.
You never will. I love the comparison. I think this year, if it blows up, they're a little hard done by due to the injuries.
Yep.
You know, it's hard
It's
to
a
be like, oh,
factor.
you're the Sharks, but
It's
you're
a
like, wow,
factor.
2 huge players got hurt. But dude, Schmert last night, shout out Schmert, said he was like the biggest winner on the squad, the biggest winner employed by the Hurricanes is Rod the Bod. You know, like that's where it's coming from. It's not on the ice.
Yeah.
And
He's a
he's
phenomenal
kind of
coach.
right. So yeah, it's the biggest thing for me was when I thought it was going to be Panthers. I thought it was going to be Canes Panthers, and I was like, you know what? Carolina doesn't score that much. The Panthers score 1 million goals. I might take the Panthers over them. And then when it flipped to Islanders, I was like, oh, I might have to change that pick. But then I was like, well, no, Carolina doesn't score that much, and now they're going against Sorokin.
Yep.
So the Islanders don't score that much either, which makes it scary for me.
Yeah.
But if you contain Carolina and every game's 2-1, then who gives a shit if you're the Islanders? You don't score that much.
Yep.
Win these low scoring.
And that's true. With that said, I think I agree with everything you said. I think Carolina gets past this. I think they beat the Islanders because the Islanders, man, what am I worried about on that team, dude?
What are you doing here?
What am I worried about?
Who
on that
invited
team?
you here?
It's like Bo Horvat is good. Brock Nelson's a good player, but like none of those guys terrify me except Sorokin. And I don't think Sorokin is going to single-handedly topple, because that's really what it is, a 113-point team. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we're going to see this struggling Carolina team, and it's going to take them 7.
Okay.
And I don't think that the Met winner has any business going 7 games against the New York Islanders, but I do think Carolina's going to. And I think that is going to wear on them, and I think that whoever wins the New York-New Jersey battle is going to see blood in the water when they get to Carolina, and they're going to beat the shit out of them.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If they get there, which I don't think they will. Okay, this next series, Devils Rangers, I think, even with the colossal Leafs Lightning series, this is the series I'm most excited about.
Me too.
In the
And I'm saying right now with my prediction, I have no idea.
you don't even know what you're going to say yet?
No, I don't know what I'm going to say, and I have no idea how this is going to go. I think that these two teams are so insanely similar. And
Dude, can I interrupt because I have
please.
this? Devils have home ice,
Yep.
right?
Which is terrible for them.
They play better on the road. They kind of corrected that, but they play better on the road. Crazy thing is, and I didn't know this, so did the Rangers.
Good road teams.
Check this out. Devils at home this year. 24-13-4. Rangers at home this year. 23-13-5.
Yeah.
Devils on the road this year. 28-9-4. Rags on the road. 24-9-8.
Yeah.
This is a fucking bloodbath. dude.
I'm telling you, they're incredibly similar teams.
It's ridiculous.
Incredibly similar teams. I think
Shesty is the better goalie.
Shesty
But which Shesty are you going to get?
Yeah, which is so huge. Shesty is the better goalie, no doubt. They have the advantage there.
But Vitek's no slouch, even though we chirped him in the tears and got lit up about it. He's no slouch. But
His numbers aren't good though.
And Dan,
he's not top 10 in anything.
Ask me how many playoff games he's played in his career.
How many, Chris?
3.
Not a lot.
In one game in 2020/21.
But Shesty has what? Why don't you look
I
that
don't
up,
know.
Bri? Because he went.
To 3 rounds last year.
Yep. And how many games did he play this season before that?
In the playoffs?
Yeah.
Was he their starter in the playoffs 2 years ago?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna find out.
I think he has literally
If you go to
21
Hockey
games.
Reference,
Yeah,
right
right
there.
there. A 10-10 record in 21 games. Goals against of 2.61, not good.
But
and
no, that's not horrible. And 9.28 is great.
928 is
great.
great. And he was great last year.
Listen to this.
Yeah, there you go. I was like, I think he played one game, and there you go.
Wow, good call. So Dan, Vitek in 2020, 2021, he played one game, had a save percentage of .75. He only faced 4 shots that went in. I think he got hurt. I can't remember.
Yeah.
In 21-22, he played 2 playoff games, went 1-1, and had a save percentage of .863 and a goals against of 4.21. That's his playoff
Not
resume.
good, dude.
That
Not
is
good
not
at all.
going to cut it. The Rangers are fucking deep. You've got Panarin 90+, the bread man. You've got Zeba 90+. Kreider went over 35 goals, and I got to give him credit for that because he'll never do the 50 again, but I was like, I don't even think he would sniff 30 again. And he went 35+. Big ups to that. Fox 70+. You got the kid line as your third line, which is fire.
Dude, they're the most fucking...
It's just a fun third line, though.
I know. They're just such a fraudulent... Everyone's like, dude, they're the deepest team ever. Best fucking third line in hockey.
Bad Vlad.
The kids are so good. Are they good?
Well, I don't think they're like that good. I just think it's a good third line. Or it's a fun third line. It's exciting third line for the playoffs. Bad Vlad comes in and goes 21 points in 30 games. You bring in Showtime, Patty Kane, 12 points in 18 games. Knows a thing or two about winning a cup. Thing or two or three about winning a cup. But I look at the Devils, dude. And they have their Adam Fox answer in Dougie Hamilton. Right? He's better D-man, according to you, I would say. On defense alone. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, Adam Fox is better than Dougie.
Okay, but I think they're pretty comparable. You know, Dougie's in the Norris conversation. He's a great player. They have Jack Hughes, who has been a fucking stud all year, breaks the Devils' record. Finished with, 98, I want to say. Heischer and Brad have been excellent. Mercer's been good. Tatar's been good. You bring in Timo. Timo's got 14 points in 20 games. Luke Hughes is up, dude. Sometimes you just get jumped from these young guys. Here's what I think, Dan. I don't think the Rangers are cocky. I don't think they're looking past the Devils. I think they're way too professional.
I don't think the Rangers are cocky either. I think Rangers fans are cocky.
Me too.
But the Rangers are not.
I don't think they're looking past the Devils. They're way too professional. They got guys that have been there. I know that everyone is pointing to the Devils' lack of playoff experience, which is a fucking thing, right?
Oh, no
I know
doubt.
everyone's pointing to that, but I actually, I'm looking at it in a different way. I kind of think the Devils are just a bunch of kids out there having the time of their life. Luke Hughes is scoring overtime goals. They're going on heaters. They're drinking Gato.
Big empty netter Colorado goal means Colorado jumps Dallas.
Dallas might be winning, though.
Let me look
right
that
now.
up while you keep going. Just keep talking about the Devils.
But they're going on, dude, they just, Dan, answer me this. Why don't they let kids drive cars or drink alcohol or buy weapons?
Because they're irresponsible.
And dangerous.
Yeah.
I think kids are dangerous.
They are.
I'm taking Devils in 7. I'm sorry, Brian.
Let's see. Dallas beat the Blues. Okay, so nothing
Dallas
changes.
still
Dallas
a
stays,
point up,
yeah.
but they're done for the season, and Colorado has one more game
Yeah,
tomorrow.
but this was a huge
had to
win.
win, yep.
Yeah, they had to win, so it remains a 1-point lead. So tomorrow, we'll see. Okay, everything you said is
Dumb.
no, is so interesting, man. I keep going back to what we said at the very beginning. These teams are so similar.
It's wild, dude.
Experience is experience, dude.
Yep, can't teach it.
The Rangers, we could even go back as far as 8 years here, have had a get over the hump problem too.
Yes.
I think that the Rangers would have wanted to, and it's a tall task to say when you're going up against a dynasty team, but I think that they would have said they would have liked to have beaten Tampa last year. And they
Oh
did
my
not.
God, yes.
I think that they are having, when you look at the performances of certain players last year, you're having down years from certain guys, Kreider being one of them. I
I'll
think
have to say, keep going. I'd like to look at his careers.
I think you
points.
lost Strome. I'd actually like to, Bri, can you look up Ryan Strome's points last year with the Rangers?
Dan Kreider. This is the most points he's ever had in a season, and he only has 54, but in his career, except for last year, which was moronic.
Yes.
So it's almost not a
But
down year.
but he's always floated around that. Like
Yes, 54. He
Kreider-
has 54,
Kreider's
52, 53.
Kreider's a 50-point guy. And then last year he went nuclear and he had, what, 70-something?
77.
77.
Dude, 52 goals, 25 assists.
So Stromer last year, Bri, had what? 54 points in 74 games. So you replaced him with Trocheck, who has 64 points in 82 games, which is, I would say, a little bit better pace.
Yeah.
10 games less, 10 more points.
Yep.
And Strome wasn't going to get 10 in those 10, so maybe 5, we'll call it. So, like, Trocheck's been a 5-point better guy.
Yeah.
So, like, there you go. Good replacement. And I think Trocheck started pretty slow this year, but I also wonder how much Trocheck's points are being padded rather by some of the guys around him. You go out and you add Kane and Tarasenko. They've been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Kane
slightly under point per game.
Yeah, it's Kane has 12 and 19, Tarasenko has 21 and 31.
Yep.
You know, they're both guys who have cups. They know how to win. They're going to be very valuable to this team. I think Drury did a phenomenal job adding. The Devils, to your point, and I'm not just regurgitating what you said with your fun little analogy, the Devils are way more dangerous in my opinion. The Rangers have had the most Jekyll and Hyde season for such a good record.
Yeah.
Because they would come out and just poop their pants in games constantly.
For stretches. Like
Yes.
after they got those big signings, we were like, oh shit, here they come. And the Rangers are real. And then they would like dump 4 in a row.
We had that post where I was like, the Rangers are a problem. And yeah, like then they just go on these skids. And it makes me worry, you could go on a skid right now in the playoffs and you lose 4 games and you're done. So I don't think that this Rangers team is as dangerous or scary as I have felt they have been in the past.
Past seasons or this year, you mean?
Past seasons.
Okay.
And even this season, yeah, like they're right now. I don't think that they're in a form. They are not right now in the best form that they have been this year. But that doesn't matter because
Right.
the playoffs start. You just got to start doing
Yep.
what you're going to do. I think. To me, the Devils are more dangerous. I look at the Devils' offense and I am more afraid of the way those kids are playing. I'm way more afraid of the way Jack Hughes is playing, Jesper Bratt is playing, Nico Hischier is playing than I am about Ziba and Panarin. Ziba and Panarin are the only guys that I think are like dangerous right now on the Rangers team.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have Tarasenko, you have Kane, you have Kreider, you
know.
got the kid line. Oh my
Yeah.
God. But those 2 guys are the only ones that I'm like, these dudes are savages.
Yeah, they could hurt you out of nowhere.
But
right?
those
Yeah.
2 dudes are also pass first guys, which I'm like, that's interesting.
Yep.
They can score. They can both score. Regardless, I do not think New Jersey is ready. I think that this is going to be a slugfest back and forth, like 1-1-1-1. I think it's going 7, and I've got New York.
I don't hate it, dude. I think that what's crazy about my pick, I have the fucking New York Rangers losing in the first round, and I think I would have them over literally every other team except the Bruins. If this first round was Rangers Leafs, Rangers Lightning, Rangers Canes, Rangers Islanders, or Panthers, I have Rangers pretty comfortably in 6 against all of them. And they could pump the Devils because there's no experience. You're 100% right. It's just that matchup, them being so close geographically, and everyone's all frothing at the mouth, and the Devils are just so scary that there's something in me just telling me that the Devils are gonna snuff it out right away.
And my this is a logic pick. Like the emotion pick for me is New Jersey. I think New Jersey is the more exciting team. I think they're the more dangerous team. And I think just looking at them, I think Jersey fucking wants this series more. And we'll see after game 1. Like, I might recalibrate here. But I just think fucking A, man. New York has gone to at least the second round.
Yeah.
Like, every year for the past several years. They've got so many vets on this team. And adding Tarasenko and Kane, I'm just like, I think it's going to be a recipe that is too much for this.
It might be.
young
And the
New
Rangers are
Jersey team.
nasty. Don't get it twisted. I think they could win the cup. I said to you last week, I think the Rangers, the fact that the Oilers have a better odds than the Rangers was crazy to me because I'm like, dude, the Rangers are one of the favorites in my opinion, which is maddening, mind-blowing that I'm picking them to lose in the first round. But I just think it was a tough break, really tough matchup. I think if I'm a Rangers fan, they probably don't give a shit, but if I'm a Rangers fan, I was rooting for the fucking Panthers today so hard to have the Devils jump the Canes and play the Canes in the first round. I think the Rangers roll the Canes in the first round.
You know what's interesting, dude, is we're not going to do cup predictions just yet. We talk about how good the East is. Looking at the way that this is shaken out, I actually think the only 3 teams in the East that I think can win the cup is Boston, New York, and New Jersey. I think the Canes are broken. I don't think, and
Tampa, Toronto, I don't know.
I don't think Toronto can win.
Yeah, me neither.
I think Toronto can maybe get past the first round. They can't win a cup. I don't think they can.
But maybe Tampa could.
But I don't even know.
I just don't think you can go to 4 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's 3. I think it's Boston, New York, and New Jersey.
And 2 of them have to play in the first round.
Yeah,
dude.
it's insane.
We're both on record hating this playoff format so much because neither of these teams deserve this. New York, and New Jersey specifically, but it makes for good television.
It sure does. It does. But yeah, there it is. Bruins, Panthers, Leafs, Lightning, Canes, Islanders, New Jersey, New York. Wild slate of playoff games.
Bees in 5, Bees in 5.
Yep.
Leafs in 7, Leafs in 7. Islanders in 6, Canes in 7.
Yep.
Devils in 7, Rags in 7.
Yep.
Rags in 7.
Let's go, Brian.
I hate that I'm taking chalk.
Yeah.
That's so not.
Well, no, you're not. The Rangers are underdogs, technically.
Oh, yeah, true. That makes me feel better.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. That is our Eastern Conference playoff breakdown. Next episode that'll come out on Tuesday, we will do our Western Conference breakdown. We'll be watching games live.
Just got to wait for the Avs to finish.
Yeah. And this is, dude, I'm like frothing at the mouth like a rabid dog for these playoffs to start.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy.
Let's just hit our last segments, and then we can go.
Yes. And like we said, we dropped at the beginning of the episode, breaking news. The Empty Netters podcast is going to 2 episodes per week. So, again, every Monday night we will record episodes. We'll be watching games live. The West Coast games, the East Coast games will have just ended. We're going to be doing game breakdowns, what's going on with all the series, and then we will record every Thursday night during the East Coast games live. Those episodes will come out Tuesday and Friday, so you guys will be up to date with everything going on, all the games. Won't be too much time going on between it because we all got to stay dialed with these playoffs.
Let's go.
Let's fucking
It's
go.
a real legacy stretch for me and Emily.
Yes.
Yes.
Producer Brian and producer Emily are going to be up against it here. So
Battling team players.
beautiful.
Let's get... Did you change back?
I wanted to go back. We weren't talking about playoffs anymore, so I wanted to go back into our non-playoff talk outfits.
Oh, okay. Actually, I like that because clearly I did it too.
Yeah. You didn't notice?
I didn't realize I changed.
You're like a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
You morph
I've
into
always
your
said
playoff suit when it's playoff talk time, and then you come back to normal. Is that your Power Ranger stance? That's pretty good. If I were...
That's
What
one of
were-
his powers.
Yeah.
oh, nice. What were those guys called? What were the bad guys in Power
think
Rangers?
so.
I could not even.
You got a computer right in front of you.
Sorry. On it.
Let's get into a little bit of Ica Watch, Dan.
Yeah. I think it's more like this today.
The last one of the year. He's got 65 points in 66
Wait, it's
games.
the last one of the year?
Yeah, 'cause the season's over.
Oh!
He's got 65 points in 66 games, and it looks like that's how it's going to end, Dan. And do you know why?
Because Jack can't stay healthy.
Because he got hurt. Lower body. It was going to take a scorching finish, but now we'll never know. And I would like to read something.
Please.
Jack, on that fateful day in early October when I saw the line for your over-under point total at 71.5, I knew it had to be a typo. There was no way Las Vegas had suddenly entered the business of handing out free money. So I announced to the world what I've always known, that you're a shining star, and now that you're healthy and settled, we were all about to be rich. I believed you were a point-per-game guy, and I won't apologize for that, because you are. It was always the injuries that were going to kill us, and kill us they did. A groin cost us 14 games in December and January. I spoke to Bruce Cassidy about it at All-Stars, and he assured me all would be well. It was nice to hear, even though I never doubted you for a second. If healthy, you would have crushed our mark. What a dangerous word, if. I'd be in the NHL with you, if I could shoot. Dan would be a foot model if he didn't have such disgusting toenails. If. Together, we dreamed of making shrimp come out of every orifice of Dan's body. Now, alone, I will become a member of the custom jersey crew. But when I put on that sweater and rollerblade down the Strand, I will not shed a tear. Because every time it's on my back, it will make me think of you and the time we had together. May the goals and assists pour in for you during the playoffs, Jack, at a rate slightly quicker than they did this spring. I take solace in the fact that you were the leading scorer on the Knights this year. In my heart of hearts, I know it wasn't really about the destination. It was about the journey. As I fall asleep tonight, I'll still see that Hattie in Buffalo. Get well soon, Jack. My golden knight. My golden boy.
That's beautiful. There's one inaccurate thing about that, and it's that he's not quite a point per game guy, is he?
65 and 66.
So not quite.
He's the leading scorer on the team.
He's just
the leading scorer on the team.
shy.
Did you think someone on Vegas wasn't going to have 72 points? No. And obviously Jack's going to be the leading scorer. This was the right bet.
What a bizarre year for that team that 64 points is the leading.
65.
It's 65
Yeah.
points is the leading scorer on the team. How it's crazy.
It's mind-blowing. And they're in first. It's not like they're bad.
I would like to extend. Here's the deal. You have to get a custom jersey and you have to rollerblade down the Strand with no pants on. That's the rule. You have to look like you're wearing a dress.
Yeah.
You are doing that because you lost.
I lost. He has 65 points.
But in solidarity and for content purposes, I have an offer for everyone here. Emily has to accept these terms as well.
Oh no.
Jack has 65 points.
Yep.
He is going to be back for playoffs.
We hope.
The goal was 72 points.
7
That is
points
7 points. If Jack gets to 72 in the first round, not if they make it to that doesn't count. He has one round. If he gets to 72, I will still do the shrimp bet.
Dude, that's a lot of points. Even if it goes 7, he has to get a point per game.
Yeah.
Okay, but like he knows about this and he'll be watching
Well,
and he'll be
no.
this will be his own personal goal as well.
I want all of playoffs because what if they sweep the shit out of somebody? It's 4 games. You need him to score 7 points in 4
I'll give you
games.
2 rounds. Not all playoffs. That's ridiculous.
2 rounds.
2 rounds.
I agree on 2 rounds.
How many games per round?
It's up to 7, so it's possibly 14 games,
And possibly 8.
which is like ridiculous that I'm offering this.
That's a
Let's
But it,
say
might only
pretty
be, but it might
risky.
only be 8.
but it might be
But it might be
way
14.
it might be
more.
14, and if he doesn't get 7 in 14, you need to do another jersey.
I get a split in half jersey.
Yeah, I mean, like
Okay, if he doesn't get there has to be an extra punishment if he doesn't get it.
I kind of agree.
Okay, we'll think of it.
Okay, deal.
2 rounds. 2
2
rounds.
rounds. 2 rounds, but a punishment for you if he doesn't hit it.
Agree.
Agree. And the other caveat is he has to play.
Oh, yes.
Like if he doesn't play, you
I guess
don't
I
have
just
to
lose anyway. We don't really need to do anything about where in the world is Austin Matthews, but
No.
did you take anything into that game last night? It was a playoff game, Leafs Bowl. I mean, it was playoff atmosphere.
Well, I mean,
Leafs
him and
Bulls.
Marner didn't even play.
Yeah, you're right. That's
So
dangerous.
no. Austin Matthews is sitting comfortably in Toronto right now. He has the quietest 40-goal season of all time. And I mean that in a good way. He is so fucking good. I'll tell you what though. Austin is in Toronto, but starting Monday or whenever the first
The
playoff
movers
game
are
is,
on call.
no, his bags are packed.
Yeah.
He is ready to leave. If you Toronto fans, if you do not make it out of the first round, bye. Bye. Wave goodbye. He is gone. He is gone. So be prepared.
Playoff trail, I don't have much for you either, Dan. Devils was a brutal loss for your boys.
It sure was, but I was so proud of them for that OT or shootout
that
win
was
against
sick.
Toronto. Listen,
Rangers.
I'm not going to say anything. Rangers, yeah. I'm not going to say anything because it's not over.
Yep.
But it's not. We're not.
They need a miracle, but it's been fun.
Yeah, it sure has. Let's get into what to watch and let's get on out of here.
This is probably going to come out Friday, right?
Yep.
Because we're going to cover some playoff stuff. So honestly, guys, there's 2 games left in the season. Watch them both.
Yep.
Sabres at Columbus. Maybe they need it. Avs at Preds. Good chance that's for first place between them and the Stars on the line. Interesting games. And then come Monday, watch fucking everything.
I was going to say my only what to watch is the Stanley Cup fucking playoffs, baby. Next week, 2 episodes per week from the Empty Netters podcast. Every single day we got Stanley Cup hockey, multiple games a night. All the matchups are absolutely ridiculous. Dial in. We're going to be watching every single game. We're all going to have heart attacks and strokes because it's going to be worth it. Playoff hockey is the best thing in the world.
That was so awesome.
Thanks, man. With that, we'll see you Tuesday.
Skate hard.